Now, we're not going to get political. That's not what this show is all about. We're just going to talk about music. We're going to talk about bands from Ukraine and Russia that have been impacted by this war, and also bands from around the world that had tours planned. They had to cancel it because of, obviously, the conditions are not the right ones to have a tour in that part of the world. Welcome to another episode from Takedowns to Breakdowns with A&P, and today we're here to talk about a topic that unfortunately we can't dribble, and that is the war between Russia and Ukraine. Now, we're not going to get political. That's not what this show is all about. We're just going to talk about music. We're going to talk about bands from Ukraine and Russia that have been impacted by this war, and also bands from around the world that had tours planned. They had to cancel it because of, obviously, the conditions are not the right ones to have a tour in that part of the world. But before we even talk about those two topics, one for you to think about. Sabaton, they just released The War to End All Wars, and it comes at a time where we're actually in the middle of one war.
Yeah.
Is it bad timing?
I feel like all the stars aligned for the wrong reasons here. I mean, it's no fault of theirs. I mean, it's not like they knew.
And what are they going to do? The album is announced, like the date is there. Like, what are they going to do? Postpone the album? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because you don't know how long this is going to go. So
exactly. I mean, technically, there's always a war somewhere. It's just that this one is right smack in the middle of Europe, and because of that, well, not in the middle of Europe, but it's in Europe. So because of that, it adds a little bit more to the context of their record. I feel bad for them because it's perhaps not the greatest time to release an album about World War I or about any war for that matter, because people are a little bit more sensitive.
Yeah, especially because it's
topic.
an upbeat. They're a very upbeat band when it comes to wars, and there's nothing upbeat to feel right now.
There's nothing upbeat about any war. I think you can be upbeat about a war that's way in the past that you didn't live through, but when you're seeing these images and you're witnessing happening, it's kind of hard to feel upbeat about anything whatsoever. Yeah. So moving on from that, let's talk about the other two things. The first one I want to talk about, before we talk about the bands from Russia and Ukraine that have been impacted by this, I want to talk about bands that had tours scheduled for Ukraine and Russia that had to cancel. And I've seen some comments from some idiots saying like, why are you being all political? Why are you taking sides?
There's nothing political about it.
No, you can't go in the middle of a war and have a show.
Like,
who's going to go to the show?
I have no idea.
How are you going to travel to Kiev to have a show there when the place is being bombarded?
And people in Ukraine are going to be like, I could leave now, or I could go to this show. Like, there's no
discussion to be had.
There's no discussion, yeah.
So I honestly don't understand the comments that I'm seeing. Not just in one band, but in multiple bands.
They're very brain-dead comments. There's no way people actually sat there, thought about this, and were like, yeah, this is a good idea. No, it makes no sense.
You cannot have a tour in the middle of a war. I mean, it's just, like, it's absolutely asinine. Those comments are just so ridiculous. What upsets me is the amount of the comments themselves.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, one here, one there, okay, but no,
there's a few, man.
Every band that's canceled the tour,
there's always like
there's at least two idiots.
Exactly, and
claiming
that's too many.
And that's too many, exactly. Two idiots claiming that why are you taking sides? You know, why you like the people there? There's not their fault that there's a war. Now you're taking the music away from. I'm sure they have better things to worry about than going to a concert. Yeah, than going to a concert. I just want to put that out there. It just drives me crazy. Are these people living under a rock or something?
Definitely.
Like, just unreal. Now, the topic at hand, the bands from Russia and the bands from Ukraine that have been impacted by this. I have two different ways of looking at it. Let's start with Russia. And I want to get your input on this. A lot of Russian bands have come out and been vocal about how they don't support the war. Now, they haven't been some of them haven't been too vocal about their displeasure for their president or dictator, regardless of how you want to look at it. But I also feel that they're a little bit between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. I fully understand.
Okay, I do too. A lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't.
Because a lot of people are saying that they're not being vocal enough.
But you guys have to realize that...
Where they live.
Exactly. It's not
and their families.
Like, they could be from that country, but live in a different... They can say whatever they want. But since they...
Even then, if you still have family there, do you really want to go that far?
Exactly. So, I totally understand why they'll say something, but they won't go too far into it. You know?
You have to tread carefully.
Very carefully.
Because it's not just you, it's your family, it's your loved ones, the people you associate yourself with. You're living in a country that you could easily disappear overnight.
And
You know
people
what
are
I mean?
getting arrested for the protests.
Yeah, so if you're too vocal about the war or the president, you could totally, like I said, disappear overnight. So I get where they're coming from. Anything that they can say against the war, regardless of how far they can take it or not take it, I'm okay with it. I'm not honestly, I'm not passing any judgment.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're even saying anything to begin with, because I would also understand if they didn't say anything.
But I think it's hard not to say something.
It's hard not to say something, but
you just have to be careful with what that something is.
Exactly. That's why I'm very okay with nothing being said or just a little bit being said.
Okay. Now the other side, the bands from Ukraine. I want to tell you something, because I don't know if you were aware of this or not. I don't know if you guys at home are aware of this or not. But Season of Mist, the label, they came out and they said that any of their bands that are from Ukraine that want to leave Ukraine and they want a place to hang their hats until this thing is over, they're welcome to go to France and stay with them. They'll set them up at their headquarters in France. They'll take care of them, all of that stuff. I think that's freaking phenomenal.
That's an amazing thing to do.
That's an amazing thing. But they didn't stop there. They also said that any merch that you buy from one of their Ukrainian bands, the band will get 100% of the money made on that merch.
I mean,
because there's no way for them to make money right now.
Exactly. And
they can't play shows. They can't.
I feel like this is an amazing thing for them to do. I mean,
so far, I think they're the only label that's come out.
I think more labels should do it.
I agree. I'm actually surprised that not more have taken that same initiative of selling the band's merch and giving 100% of the money made on that merch back to the band. There's a lot of bands from Ukraine out there and several different labels, and all of them could use help right now. And what can you do to help? There's not much labels, fans can do to help. And that goes into my next point, which is buy merch from bands from Ukraine right now. If you're thinking of buying merch, I know you may want to buy that Crowbar t-shirt during their Sepultura tour, or you may want to buy that Amorphous new t-shirt because it looks really cool, or whatever the case might be, whatever your favorite band is. If you have some extra cash and you're looking at buying a shirt, think about this. Spend some money on a band from Ukraine, regardless of what label they're on, because right now those bands, a lot of them are stuck in that country. They can't leave, and they have no way of making money. They have no way of generating revenue to just buy like the daily essentials.
Exactly.
So think about that for a minute. Try to support Ukrainian bands as much as you can by buying their merch. If there's ever a time to purchase that merch, that time is now. And I want to take this opportunity of this video to applaud Season of Mist, not just for opening the doors to the bands that want to go to France from their label and stay with them, but also to give them 100% of the revenue of the shirts or merch or anything that you buy from them back to those bands.
This is a cool thing to do.
Yeah, kudos to them. I mean, great initiative, great way of thinking forward. I definitely applaud them for doing that. I'm not saying that other labels are not doing similar things. I just haven't heard from other labels about any initiatives along these lines. So I just want to give them props, because at the very least, they were the first ones to come out of the gate and doing something.
Yeah, and I'm hoping more can...
Yeah, it's tough times. I think we have to gel together.
We have to all gel together, yeah.
I think as a metal community in general, I think it's time for everybody to kind of come together.
With some brothers and sisters that need help.
When this broke out, I sent a message to Eugene from Ginger. I sent a message to the dudes from 1914, because 1914 was going to go on a tour right now with Convent. Now they can't go on the tour anymore.
That would have been amazing, man.
And yeah, amazing too. I mean, what a great opportunity. Both bands, new albums, going on tour. This happens. They can't go on tour, but right now the tour is probably the furthest thing from their mind. They're just thinking about their loved ones. They're just thinking about surviving, making through this. And my heart goes out to any band out there right now in the Ukraine, struggling, trying to make ends meet, trying to survive, trying to really live to see another day. So if you can support bands right now, and if you're thinking of buying a shirt, a CD, a vinyl, buy it from a band from Ukraine. Let's put some money in their pockets right now and trying to help them out. Before we go on this video, I just want to say one thing. I thought was really interesting that Radio 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗠, you guys know who I'm talking about. But Radio 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗠, he's in the Ukraine. I think he was either doing I don't know if he lives there. We know he's Russian.
He was Russian, yeah.
But he's in the Ukraine, and I don't know if he was touring or doing something. Anyways, he got caught there.
Video, yeah.
Yeah, he got caught during this period of time there, and he's been posting pictures and vlogging like his day-to-day life, like the destruction around him, like his ration of food that he has in his room, what he's eating, going to the grocery store, that kind of stuff, I think is phenomenal. An artist like that doing that kind of content to let people know that, hey, this is no joke. This is
what's happening.
This is what's happening. And I think it carries even a little bit more weight, at least in my opinion. It's not an artist from the Ukraine.
It's an artist from Russia.
Yeah, it's an artist from Russia doing this. So I really appreciate seeing this kind of brotherhood, that we're all in this together. He posted a picture really interesting of a city where he played a show, and he posted a picture of the city when he was there to play the show and the city now, so you could see the difference
side by side
in terms, you see the difference of the explosions and all the bombing and what has happened there. So kudos to him for doing this to bring awareness, and he's bringing awareness from the Russian side in terms of what's happening to the people of Ukraine in Ukraine. So I think it's just outstanding. I was following him on Instagram before, but now it's even a bigger reason to follow him, so that you get a different perspective.
Updates.
Yeah, and you get a different perspective. Like I said, I think it carries a lot more weight
because he's Russian.
Because he's Russian and he's doing this. So I think it's really cool. But once again, the reason for this video is just really to give a shout out to all the bands from Ukraine. Just hang in there. If you guys can support them, buy some merch. Kudos to Season of Mist for stepping up, and let's hope this doesn't last long, and let's hope for a peaceful resolution. I mean, I think at this point in time it's almost impossible to have a peaceful resolution.
But let's just hope for a brighter future ahead.
Ahead, and my heart once again goes out to everybody that's being affected by this conflict. So just trying to create some awareness for those bands. Once again, support the bands. If you have the ability, buy a shirt, buy something. All right, guys, we'll see you at the next video.
See ya.